Alright, what it do, y'all? It is Achilles2017. I'll give you my thoughts on what I'm about to say. I've been watching, I haven't been necessarily feeling too well, in a sense. I'm trying to figure out what's happening to me or what not. In a sense, I've been drinking water, trying to cut back on my sugar, in a sense. Not saying I eat a lot of sugary stuff, but in a sense, I like to have normally I don't eat breakfast. I'll tell people that I'm not a breakfast person in a sense, because breakfast is not but sugar. But back to the story. Back to what I'm saying, topic at hand. What do I think about Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate, and the modern dating scene? I think in a traditional sense, Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate brought a unique perspective, but honestly speaking, some of it's disrespectful. Like, it's very disrespectful. And at the same time, why would someone be comfortable putting themselves on camera with the issue of, in a sense, like women and men? I'm not saying people have to have their ducks in a row, but honestly speaking, like, if you think about it, what Kevin Samuels tried to do is explain to people, both men and women, the reality check. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the dress size thing. That's just a little bit coonery, and to me, that's just the brand of that. It's just not. It's not funny by any means. They're talking about the women's dress size. They think they're 7 or whatnot. Drop yourself 2 points or whatnot. I would say, and the way dating society works or whatnot, if someone's 35 with 3 kids, they're a single mom or whatnot, and this, that, and the third. Realistically speaking, I don't think that a man, in a sense, that's not something you should go on the internet and put out. And I'm not saying people need a relationship coach, but one thing that someone needs if they've had problems in a relationship is to go seek therapy for one. And then the fact that someone's 35 with 3 kids, that's not wrong. Some people be single because of certain things happen. I'm not even saying things don't work out, just because someone has a kid with someone doesn't mean that that's necessarily a good thing in a sense. And, co-parenting, I think co-parenting in a sense, the way it is now, it is not a positive thing. And then men are talking about child support being as high as it is. To me, child support exists for a reason. I'm not here to argue with that or whatnot, and it's to provide for the kid for a period of time or whatnot. Things happen, people, 2 and 2 come together, and then a baby is introduced or whatnot. The relationship is toxic or whatnot. It was just, a hookup, a one-night stand. You got pregnant, something like that. That's one of those things, you just gotta think about. Next point. When I think about, like, Kevin Samuels, like a woman talking about how much money a man has to make, I don't think a man has to make, $330,000. And, if we're talking about dating or income or whatnot, I don't think that that's a thing that a woman should be asking a man in a traditional sense if it's not serious. Because, in a sense, there's some people not good with personal finance. And in a traditional sense, if a man makes $330,000, he's dealing with a woman with 3 kids, you know, to me, it's not gonna be long before a woman will try to move in with the man, and especially I would never allow, we're not married and nothing like that. It's not anything serious. I don't allow a woman to live with me at all. I'm sure a woman could spend like a weekend at our place, but I like space. Like my time. Like, a woman and a man should have both of their things. That's not up for debate with me. I think oftentimes, the harsh reality that we're having nowadays, especially in dating, in traditional sense, is that, there's not people, in a sense, being forthright and forthcoming. You're not a boss, you're a bum. Both men and women can be bums, though. And at some point, too, as a man or a woman, you just put your foot down. Like, I know there's also been stuff that I've been looking up to. Is how men are like they call them passport bros. The men are like black men. They're going to Medellin. They're going to the Dominican Republic or whatnot. They're trying to get themselves a wife or something like that. Or have fun with these women. Now, what are my thoughts on when people going abroad and or they meet somebody out there? Now, one, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing. But the other thing I would say is religion and customs and then culture. Like, let's say someplace like Sao Paulo, Brazil. Let's say people talk about Brazilian women. I'll put it this way. Brazil has a lot of stuff going on. So, for one, like, no one can say that, for instance, there's not that many women there, because there's a lot of women, but there's a lot of women everywhere or whatnot. If you're not there for work or whatnot, what's the point? Or you get a little vacation. There's some people, in a sense, they're able to fund a few trips off of, YouTube. They got like 300,000 subscribers. Like, there's this guy that I like watch on YouTube or whatnot. He's been around. He's been doing like a South American tour or whatnot. He was in Suriname. He's kind of back. He was in Guyana. He was in different places. His name was Sabbatical. I like his content or whatnot. He's a single man or whatnot. He goes to different places. He tries to get experiences. And, goes out. He befriends like a nice, young lady or whatnot. They teach him about certain stuff or whatnot. And he goes from there pretty much. doesn't necessarily go with a plan. He just goes out and explore. Now, me personally, I would never explore a place or get the feel of certain stuff. Like, for instance, business. Let's talk about business. Like a businessman. A businessman is spending, I don't know, a great percentage, like a traveling businessman. I don't think he's going to necessarily have that much time to a certain extent for a relationship or whatnot. And I don't think, past a certain point, a man that's trying to settle down at a certain point, it just depends on that person. Like, to me, going to a bar in a different country is, already a no-go for what I believe. A lot of people may not be accustomed to, in a sense, like what other countries and stuff got going on. Like, let's say, like for instance, some actually place I've been, like Jamaica. So, like for instance, Jamaica, like a Jamaica. Like a Jamaican bar or something like that. And the general culture of Jamaica or whatnot. Jamaica's cool, but just like anywhere, you gotta use proper precaution or whatnot. Like, I don't know. I've been that many places, I pretty much sit there for the food, sightsee, not get any trouble or nothing like that. Soak up some of the sun, sightsee. That's pretty much my experience, nothing more, nothing less. I'm still thinking about, for instance, my sister went to Oaxaca. She's doing like this. She was doing this study abroad thing. And there was this guy, he was like 40. He had like a 5-year-old. He met a young woman or something like that. Of course, he had a relationship, somewhat of a relationship with his child or whatnot, but again, I don't think he was in the best space to become a dad in a sense. He's handling his responsibility or whatnot, but like, you're 40 with a 5-year-old. Or whatnot, he met like a Mexican lady that had a kid or something like that. And I'm like, the details are not necessarily that much important, in a sense, but ironically, I don't know. The people talking about these women, I think both men and women, in a sense, you're not careful, you can be used for papers. You can be used for papers and documentation. But also, too, what I think about the whole space of, like, I don't know, let's put it this way, about, traveling in a sense, or, you want to talk about immigration. One is, two, is people's apparent, skills, what they can bring to a country like the United States. Like, let's say someone's an engineer or a software engineer. They come from India, or let's say there's somebody who's been like a pharmaceutical technician or done something in pharmacy. I think immigration stuff is kind of bad in a sense because you think about it, it's from a business standpoint. And it's a little bit flawed in a sense. And then, like, people talk about the humanitarian thing with Afghanistan. I could agree with it to a certain extent. But, there's just certain stuff that I kind of don't agree on in a sense. We got, like, homeless vets, or the fact that we got people with, like, their limbs and stuff blown off or whatnot, and their death or their sacrifice was in vain or whatnot. We're not going to necessarily go into all that, but like, you know, we talking about the general space, the certain stuff, like especially immigration, people get papers, and then dating relationships or whatnot. I think that like someone's like first generation, American or whatnot, their perspective or something is not going to be like, as they won't understand how things work in a traditional sense. Like, what I mean by how things work is like, let's say for instance, if I'm going to, in a sense, if I just got here in a sense and I haven't been here that long, I'm considered Americanized. Like, I remember like part of a flight. I'm not an immigrant. I was born in the United States, but I'll give you the general impression. Like, I saw a guy. He did a doggone video, him talking about, the opportunities America has afforded him or whatnot. But the stuff he said wasn't really based in reality. He was basically saying Black lives didn't matter, but like, in a traditional sense, I don't know who he's been around or what type of situation. He had to pick yourself by like your own bootstraps mentality, and I thought that was very ill-advised and very inappropriate from someone his perspective. But everybody who's skin folk ain't kin folk. That's just for one. I digress. Like, for instance, let's say, for instance, that the guy has mixed kids. I'm not really concerned about that. He's married to, likes what he likes. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is, societal thing. You came here, like I said, the whole immigration thing is kind of very flawed in a sense, because it's based off of an apparent what a person can do from a business standpoint. And I disagree with that. There should be poor people with, that need the opportunity. Maybe they have some type of education or whatnot, and, they're able to, in a sense, get like a little bit of I'm not saying a start or a pass, but like, they're able to provide, a better opportunity for their kids by getting them here, or getting the immigration, or getting their papers and whatnot. But the one thing I don't think a lot of people do, in all honesty, is giving a very well-balanced perspective on, the opportunities afforded. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that, in order for a kid to be successful, they got to become a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. I just don't believe in that. Because to me, in a traditional sense, what we're going to do, we're going to have a surplus. And it really is not going to matter at a certain point. But again, when I think about dating or whatnot, or people's background, that definitely plays a role. Like, I don't know. definitely plays a role. And we think about IG models. What I think about IG models are people, that's their business. Like, being on Instagram is a business. But I think Instagram is both. It's both a blessing and a curse in a sense, because Instagram, I'm not mad at someone, for instance, making a few dollars off Instagram. The one thing I'm really kind of concerned about is the people talking about OnlyFans. That's the only thing that I'm really concerned about. There's so many people who have done certain stuff for the thing of, what? Where's this guy at?
Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him. Right foot, creep, walk with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down, face them with that heater. The devil under your feet, you on your way to see him.
Okay.
Right foot, creep, walk with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you. Catch some bad, walk down.
Alright. Let me focus on some other things too, like in terms of like we're gonna talk about dating relationships. Like, I'm gonna go more so into it. Like, let's say for instance, there's a show that I like watching. It's hilarious too, because he will be putting their face and their business out there in a sense about past relationships and whatnot. It's called The Pineapple Show. I find that hilarious, going in there and getting a woman's perspective on something. And it's not because I find it, 100% hilarious. I think that, some people, both the men and the women, make themselves look bad. At a surface level, certain people, they can hold a conversation or whatnot, and they talk about, money, parenting style, or what they believe in, or values, or whatnot. But past that, it's never going to get to that. And I'm going to tell you why. If someone is like, 35 or whatnot, both a man and a woman, you can expect them to have a few kids or whatnot. Just that and the third. Like, if someone got like 2 to 3 kids, like, from a man's perspective, I think that's kind of bad in a sense. It depends on how involved they are, what they're doing, their profession or whatnot. And someone said that, there was this guy, I think his name was B Pimpin' or something like that. He's a comedian or whatnot. He was this woman basically told him that it would be their great conversation. She likes his energy or whatnot, but it's like one of those things where, in a sense, I don't know. It was a very interesting thing. I think a show like that is, I say it's funny. I can't take it serious because, like, you know, just a perspective. So I'm probably like, why can't I say I can take it serious as perspective? Well, one is two. It's like, you know, you're professional, this and the third. I think you have time in a sense to meet somebody at, you know, professional events or something like that, or, you know, just navigating a few things like the space. But at the same time, we are gonna think about it. I would say there's not that many black professionals in a sense or in a space. Like if you're in Atlanta, in a traditional sense, Atlanta's very popular. It's a lot of black people, which can be a good and a bad thing. And then you think about if everybody is trying to do music entertainment and everybody's trying to go to Atlanta, that means there's going to be a surplus of people in that industry. It might have been good maybe in the, you know, early 90s, 2000s, you know, when stuff was really there. If you don't have a game plan, that's with anything. If you don't have a game plan, this, that, and the third, you're going to find out very quick this ain't the place for you. And it's just not. And the style of living too. Just like, you know, I tell anybody, Beverly Hills is very, you know, nice or whatnot, but I can't imagine, in a sense, the amount of stuff that you have to pay for. Like, I'll tell somebody, like, living in Beverly Hills is probably a whole lot different. Living in a place like Miami, Beverly Hills, or LA, those, you know, I would say is very competitive because, you know, you definitely have pretty women out there. You definitely have an influx of money. And then you may have people, for instance, have modeling agencies or whatnot. They might have a production company. They may have this. So you're pretty much in a competition in a sense. And then a lot of people are doing cosmetic changes, you know, to themselves or whatnot. And for lack of better words, is how we're navigating that. Like, for instance, I would say Miami is the plastic surgery capital of the world. Like, the top people. I said LA, it just depends because we're talking about LA and Beverly Hills. There's people getting, you know, all sorts of plastic surgery in Beverly Hills or whatnot. But that doesn't have the clout of Dr. Miami. Dr. Miami's world renowned. But there's some solid people probably in Beverly Hills, I would assume so. There's only one, I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but we're definitely, the way of living in LA or whatnot definitely influences the way of, I would say, of women. And then, you know, definitely, and there's certain people that are going to all this type of surgery and procedures. It's kind of affecting the way of, like, you know, dating in a sense, because you'll have somebody, you know, talking about they didn't get a BBL or expecting a man to pay for their surgeries or whatnot, be a sugar baby in a sense. And I'm just like, if we're going off that, a lot of people expect certain stuff to be done what, you know, someone can't do, someone else will. And I will say different strokes for different folks. 100%. Because, like, for instance, if you are like 35 or whatnot, you got like 3 kids, and you're used to dealing with a certain type of man or whatnot. Honestly speaking, too, I don't think that some of these women want to get married The idea is to have babies with rich men, or in a sense, it's not even necessarily about the child support payment per se. It's about the fact that we're connected with men, in a sense, and once they hear about like, okay, this person is accustomed to the lifestyle of a rich man, what he's able to do, like in terms of like finances, and past a certain point, like just like I don't know, like the industry women, or like for instance the video vixens made like in the 90s, 2000. People were at the tip of the tongue. Everybody in a sense has been with this female or something like that, or this, that, and the third. You know, people get busted. And what I mean by busted is like, there's no real redemption in a sense for that. And I think that in a sense it can happen to a man too. I'm very 50-50 in the sense that a man and a woman could be busted. The best years and stuff are behind them. And what I mean by that is strictly that. Like, for instance, let's say someone, they're worth like $30 million, or they're worth $100 million or whatnot. Let me be honest. Someone worth $100 million, they need to be careful about who they're procreating with or who they're, sleeping with, this, that, and the third. And my sister could agree with me on one thing. I say, Drake is very smart, but he's not smart when it comes to, navigating the space with women. I would not be... I told my sister, like, I'm gonna leave this game. But like, I was telling my sister, like, with someone like Drake, you're worth $100 million. You can't be flying women out and having sex with them or whatnot. Like, that's just crazy. That's not smart or whatnot. Like, you're flying these chicks out, you date them for like 4 or 5 months, or not even that. You're just flying them out. Like, you don't know what this person's been with within like the last, I don't know, few weeks. Like, again, both men and women can both have their rotation, but the thing that people don't tell you, in a sense, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass, in a sense, because that's how STDs and stuff are spread. Like, I don't know. Like, if people talking about NBA YoungBoy, got like 10 kids already. The man's only like my age. He has 10 kids, so that means on average he's knocking up two women. Soon as something happened, he's in another woman's face, another woman's presence, and he's having a kid, which I would say, in a sense, is absolutely ridiculous. For one, 10 kids. He has herpes or something like that, which, that's crazy. In a sense. And then the fact, you have herpes, you're popping pills for the rest of your life. Like, you literally are, to a certain extent. We have flare-ups, so like, people have to pop Valtrex. Them pills is big. I don't know anything about that. I think being celibate is a good idea, in a sense, of practicing abstinence or whatnot, because at the end of the day, like, how can I put it this way? If you think about just on average, it's not even necessarily about child support, in my opinion. Child support plays like a factor in contributing to kids' life, but honestly speaking, if both parents are a hot mess, what do you think a child's life or thing having to deal with, family court and the situation at hand? the whole situation, the child being born, it's already enough. The baby shower, I would say the two birthday parties or whatnot, that's already going to be like the nail in the coffin, really. That just seals the deal. And then, too, like, but there's certain stuff going on, like, I don't know. And to me, if a person's been married 3 or 4 times, when do they sit themselves down? Like, in all honesty. When does someone sit themselves down? Because me and my sister was talking, like, some people treat marriage like boyfriend and girlfriend or whatnot. They go through a cycle of where it's used in a sense. Like, you automatically, like, the thing that I think about, it's not saying nothing wrong with the actual person, but, like, I'm just saying in a traditional sense. Like, a man, let's say from a woman's perspective, I'm not a misogynist or whatnot. I don't believe in that. Or MGTOW, that's just absolutely crazy. Like, I can go on and on, but I'm not necessarily dancing around the stuff at hand. MGTOW is kind of stupid because at the end of the day, women are the gatekeepers of life. They create life, whatnot. In a sense, we're talking about, sex and relationships and whatnot. And MGTOW is like someone with a bad experience or whatnot. They're saying that women are the cause of the problems. Well, let's think about it. Most problems are solved by, I would say, if someone's wasting your time, if someone's doing this, that, and the third, you're not compatible with them in conversation, you're not compatible with them sexually or anything like that, then you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things you just have to kind of gracefully, in a sense, take as you will and move on and apply your energy to somewhere else where you're respected and valued, I think, and go from there. Like, I would say that, like, if we're going to be completely honest, the dating and the pool, like I said, to me, a lot of stuff that we see comes from a very, I would say, standpoint of what comes from Miami, New York, and definitely Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, where our fashion standards come from. But in all honesty speaking, some of the trends is very far-fetched because like not everybody is going to be able to, I'm not even saying afford the stuff, but also too, the path that these goods and services have to take to even get to here or whatnot is ridiculous. Like, there's no way that I can buy, Tom Ford, in a sense, where I live at. I mean, I could, in a sense, if I went to the website. There's only, a handful of retailers. Like, they have department stores in New York, like the B. Goodman. I think it's Bergdorf Goodman. That's like a department store in New York where they sell luxury men's items and stuff. Like, I keep up. Like, I keep up with my fashion and my businesses and stuff like that. I keep up with my stuff like that. And so when you having fashion or whatnot like that, in a sense, and now that's been an influence, and we're from New York, I'm probably at 1,000 miles away. Probably a few. Let's see how long the distance is. I'm probably 800 miles away from New York. Well, it says it's 504 miles I find that hard to believe because New York, from where I live at, is probably about 10 hours, assuming traffic or whatnot. Because to me, New York does not seem like a type of place where you can kind of comfortably move in a sense. Because New York kind of has this, faster living style. And the same thing with, like, Miami and, Los Angeles. You have to move a certain type of way. And then you think about the pool. Like, if someone's trying to be a model for Victoria's Secret, they have to look a certain way. They have to wear a certain type of way, which is kind of a problem in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Most of these women come from, like, a different type of background. Like, for instance, New York, I'll say Chicago, LA is a melting pot. Like, you might have, Vietnamese or, mixed women, black women or certain stuff like that, or black Filipino women or something like that. You may have, like, a great, deal of, a melting pot of different type of cultures, meeting together or whatnot, based off where certain stuff essentially is or whatnot. It is what it is. But honestly speaking, I think that Miami, New York, and all these different type of places, if we're talking about it, I think the problem is nowadays that a lot of people are going to get these cosmetic surgeries for whatever reason, like BBLs or whatnot. To me, a BBL is not necessarily a great thing to get because, in all honesty, like, people don't realize when you get surgeries and stuff like that, you got to go through, like, a psychological counseling, like, before you like that. Make sure you're good, and also you have to maintain your weight because, like, if you're not within a certain type of weight range, and you'll get one of them surgeries, and you have a large deposit of fat, and some fat and stuff like that, just breaks off and hits your bloodstream, you're going to be dead in a few minutes or a few seconds. I'd say probably a few minutes. Because there's no way you can go, and they can't go and detect where that went to a piece of fat. I think a lot of people are not thinking like that. And then, too, we have to think about a lot of these people going and getting their teeth done as well. In other countries like Chile or Argentina, people are going to certain people, or people even going to Turkey to get their teeth done. And to me, I would say a lot of these countries do not do a great job. A lot of these people's teeth would be shaved down. They either look too fake, they look like they got chiclet teeth or whatnot, and that's just not cool. When you pay money for, let's say, surgery like that, obviously people are trying to look their best for, women or vice versa. And when you go to certain places, I'm not saying that these people are bad, in a sense, like, to try to go there, but I think the narrative or how people portray certain stuff is not, people not in the right space. Like, how are you going to do a consultation of how, just because someone recommends you, number one, you don't speak the language, for one. Two, I'll be concerned with the way, like, how certain stuff works now. People are doing, surgeries and certain stuff in a strip mall. I don't know how I feel about that. To me, that's not professional, and that's not something I can take seriously. You're getting surgery like a BBL in a strip mall, or you're getting, fat from your stomach and placed in your butt or something like that. I don't know about that. And again, I'm not a misogynist. I'm just saying, like, in general stuff, a lot of stuff don't make a lot of sense to me. And for what it is and how it is playing out, in a sense, I feel like a lot of stuff when we think about it, a larger thing at play is how we're gonna in the next 10 to 15 years, when people have kids or whatnot, are they gonna be able to look back and be like, okay, especially when they have kids, like someone did OnlyFans or something like that, and they have a kid or something like that. Are they going to be able to have a mature conversation with their daughter or their children about why they did what they did? And this stuff is always going to be on the internet. Dignity and certain stuff cannot be, no amount of money is worth your dignity, your freedom, and your safety, in my opinion. Dollar is not that great. My sister was talking about OnlyFans was not necessarily used for, pornography or whatnot. It was used for people to engage with their stuff. And I agree. It was not intended to be used for that, but that's what OnlyFans becomes synonymous with. And why does it become synonymous with stuff, the prevalence of porn or these just other stuff? I would say a lot of the reasons why a lot of stuff comes synonymous with, OnlyFans comes synonymous with porn because that's exactly what's going on that site. And I know people are talking about someone made, $3 million a month on that. If you're making $3 million a month on something and you're spending money on a Lamborghini, you're spending money on, going to Nurse at Steakhouse, which I think is nasty, for one. Or staying in 5-star hotels. To me, I don't think that 5-star hotels are worth it. And I'm going to tell you why. 5-star hotels give you the allure. And yes, it's the amenities or whatnot, but honestly, I wouldn't want to know what happens in a 5-star hotel in terms of maintenance and upkeep. Because you honestly have to keep competing with, the top brands. Let's say someone wants to go to... Let's see. Santorini. That's the number one place people like to go to. I researched this hotel that someone said, about, that was 5-star. And these people said the food was so disgusting, the customer service was so bad, and it left a bad taste in the people's mouth and would not be coming back. And then, too, the person talking about how the food and stuff was expensive. I can honestly tell you, the food of any place where you're traveling, yeah, it is expensive. And if you know a budget or whatnot, you really have to spend around your budget, and you should always, in a sense, be willing to carry some cash, but not too much. It's obviously, illegal to have $10,000 or more in currency in a country because they think that you're money laundering, or you have some type of shady business, or you're doing drugs or involved in some shady business stuff. And we're going from there. But, I blame, what's the blame in my honest opinion for people going to Santorini? I blame social media. I blame social media for, the hype. For instance, Miami. I would say Miami would probably be cool in a sense for a break. But 9 times out of 10, if you think about Miami and then Miami spring break, Miami spring break is not necessarily good in a sense, because everybody likes to flock there. Honestly, too, if we're talking about like Miami, Miami's a little bit wild. Like South Beach, even before then, wild. Or just going down certain places. Like you got to know how to move, especially in Miami and LA. LA especially because LA is like crime ridden. Same thing with Miami. You know, you have to know how to move. About moving a certain way in Miami, a lot of people say like, you know, if you moving, like especially like New York, a lot of people who are familiar with New York, they don't know how to move a certain, like New York is okay if you have money and you know how to move. Wow. I shot the guy in the head. I'll play with like one more or two more, and I'm gonna get off. I would say we really break down, for instance, the average, you know, in a sense. I think that anybody who goes to Miami, or they're in a relationship, or their girlfriend or something like that goes with their friends, your relationship is probably more than likely over. I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, I would never go to Miami for any reason unless it's like for a business trip or something like that. Two, I would say a woman and her friends too, even as a man, I don't think a guy's trip should even go to Miami. Unless like you're single or whatnot, but even still then, like, I don't know. That's not necessarily a trip in a sense that, you know, you should go on. Because you get caught up. Like, for instance, someone might think that, you know, going out to Miami or going to a club, meeting a chick or taking her home or something like that, that's cool. Like a guy get like a 70K Rolex or whatnot. He took a chick home or whatnot. They had sex or whatnot, and then he got his Rolex and he was drugs so much. Luckily, you know, his partner, wherever he was staying at, they got her. But again, I think you just have to be moving careful. And the same thing with women. Women have to be moving careful too at South Beach. In traditional sense too, as well, because you're not from there. The same thing. I feel like the best way to be safe is don't do nothing out of the ordinary that you wouldn't do at home. And also too, know how, like, you know, the environment is. Like, obviously, in every place, you know, in downtown or certain stuff, they have bad parts downtown. You know, you don't go over there. Like, you move a certain way past a certain few blocks, you know, it's a little bit shaky. Like, you know, going down an alley or whatnot. You can get robbed, you can get mugs, you can get stabs. That's something to think about on a day-to-day basis. Or this place doesn't have that much lighting. This place doesn't have, you know, a great deal of, like, security in a sense. This place doesn't have cameras. This place doesn't have this, that, and the third. You know, you just have to move differently. And, you know, you think about if someone's under the influence of alcohol, they're drunk. The likelihood of them being, you know, at their A game is pretty much slim to none. Like, I don't know. Then, too, you think about it, like bars. Like, bars, in a sense, you know, sometimes people do a lot. They go to bars to try to meet chicks or whatnot, and take them home, smash, or just do certain stuff. It is what it is. I mean, that's just kind of the way it is in a sense. But like again, you have to choose, your safety in a sense versus, just the appeal or allure of, of a lot of things. What I mean by allure, I would say, like, for instance, you go to a club. I think the one thing about the club people need to get out the way is that, the club is a business. Everything about it is business. Like VIP bottle service. That's a business. A bottle that costs $50 is costing $300. Or at most like $90 is going for like $400. It's because it's sort of flex. The VIP table has no type of intrinsic value, except that it's a place. People are trying to be seen. People are trying to be taken serious. Oh, you're staying there. You got $400 to spend. You may not even have $400 to spend. Like if someone split their check in a sense, they had let's say someone makes like $5,000. They get to VIP is probably like what, $600. Let's say they get a bottle of 1942. That's probably gonna be like $400 right there. So that's $1,000. And imagine you get some food, in a club night, you're probably gonna spend about at least $1,500 or more. And, that's not a good type of expense or a good type of thing to be having. Just say you live in life. To me, that's not really what living life is about. And two, when you think about it, a lot of stuff like that is a dime a dozen. If you think about it, a lot of these clubs are in competition with each other for one, the experience, the DJs, the vibe, the atmosphere, what they got going on. That's for sure. In the moment that, like, in a sense, the whole dynamic change, whether it be from a standpoint of, like, money, and there's like, this the hottest. I don't think any club can refute that's the hottest. I just don't believe that. I feel like it's a marketing gimmick or marketing tactic. Because there could be a place in a sense that could be, you have clubs for certain type of people. To me, certain clubs are, only strictly for, maybe like 30 plus people or something like that. They have a specific type of night. Now, there's one of them things, I don't say it was a club, but most people, like when I was growing up, it was a little skate rink. And most people used to go there. The place was ghetto. It did not have the capacity. But like, yeah, I'm gonna go into it. Like, it was this rink. The place was ghetto. For sure, it was ghetto. I'm not gonna lie to you. The only thing I will say that it was good for was its wings, but I mean, honestly, wings, you ain't got popping wings. You know, what's happening with that? I only been there like one time, and it wasn't because other people going there. It's because it was like a family friendly night, and I've not been there. They changed ownership a few times. It's gone way down. It's still the hood. It does not do that many stuff now. There was like this one like proper place that wasn't black, and they had black people managing that, or black people promoting it. In a sense, it was just a place that was real family friendly, do parties or whatnot. I don't even think the place is even still open. I had to do some research because there's a lot of places from like my childhood that were, I would say, popular back then. They're not popular now. Like there used to be this thing called Bullwinkles. It was based off this show like in the 1960s. Last time I checked, they had this thing in like Seattle. That's where I plan to go to Seattle and see it or something like that. If I have a wife or a family, kids, something like that, take them there because they had pretty good, decent pizza. It was a good amusement park too. But they had a lot of arcades. You know what I'm saying? That was a good thing. They didn't last that long, and then they closed. I don't know, for whatever reason they closed. But the location was like centrally located in I would say, kind of off a road, a main. It wasn't necessarily a main drag, but you had to actually go out the way. But what they did was very family friendly or whatnot. It was very, truly one of a kind thing. And for what we got, and then what basically took it out, didn't make sense. Like if a place has like a go-kart, this place didn't have a go-kart, but I would say there the way they handled stuff was a whole lot better than what took it out. And that's for sure. Like for instance, like let's say, what place kind of took it out? I would say the way the road construction and then the way the landscape of things was changing. I'll probably put it that way. And then two, I don't know the particular financials, but the place has been around for like a long time. And then two, probably management. Like, you know what I'm saying? The pizza specials and everything was good. Like, the pizza was good, actually good. It was better than Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese is just nasty. Chuck E. Cheese compared to Bullwinkles, I would actually laugh how bad Chuck E. Cheese is. Like, there's no comparison. Bullwinkles versus Chuck E. Cheese is just absolutely... It's absolutely something different. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's something different. I don't know. Like a lot of places, in my opinion, especially if we're talking about like family-friendly places, there's not that many of those around. Honestly speaking, like they had this like amusement park, and they have another amusement park, but it wasn't better. It was terrible, and it's like 30 minutes, and it's in the ritzy area, but nothing about it's changed. It's kind of crappy. The pizza and stuff that they have is crappy. It's a jack of all trades, but it's a master of none. It's terrible. They call it a fun house. It's not a fun house. It's just crap. Like, I haven't been there in like what you call it, like I would say 6 years, and probably nothing has changed within those 6 years. It's like the last time that I probably went in there. And I will be betting to say that nothing has changed. Like, before then, I didn't go there for like another like 6 years, or 5 or 6 years. And you know what that is? Because it's not necessarily close. There's no reason to go there. And then two, the food or whatnot, and then the price of the games is just not, I wouldn't say it's not a family friendly place. It's not a family bargain. I'll put it that way. It's not a family bargain. Like, from the moment you get there, it's like a ripoff, like a package. You playing, you get a package with, like, doggone, let's say freeze tag. Freeze tag versus, they got freeze tag, they got a golf cart thing, that type of thing, like a fake Daytona. Honestly, I wasn't impressed by that. I'm gonna be 100%, 110% honest. I wasn't impressed by, the stuff. And there was another place too, in a sense. I don't think the place was even open because it did like a new development or whatnot. And that place was terrible too. It was smaller. It didn't have a lot of stuff it said it had. And it really, if you really want to take a look at it, it's just not necessarily great. They tried to pry this thing off being like an adventure place, and it was not like good. There was nothing adventurous about the place. The place probably had, I'll probably say, 1,000 square foot building, if that, of actual games or whatnot. They had like a laser tag thing. And, for whatever that's worth, the whole environment was like, it was crappy. And the best thing I could say about it, and they didn't have really a good arsenal of arcade games. It was crap, its best years were behind them. I definitely stand by that. Its best years were behind them. I haven't been there in a long time. I don't even think they're even still around. After this game, I'm going to say they're still around. I hope, in a sense, that they're not. I either put it like that, because last time I went there, I feel like I was kind of scammed. I didn't pay for it, but I feel like I was scammed out of my time. But yeah, I don't think there's that many places. Honestly speaking, I'm like, ooh, this place is really a place to go. This is a place to be. There's not that many places I can honestly tell you right now that like this is a place to be. This is the place to eat at. This is the place, because a lot of places, in my honest opinion, have gone down, way downhill, or it's not up to par with the standards that I would say make a place valuable. They have variety. They have a certain vibe with it. And it's definitely, they change ownership or management. I could be like, this is what happened. This is what we're going from here. This is how we're addressing a few things. And then too, the price went up. Like, if you think about on an average, let's say 3 people go out to eat. Let's say you got a girlfriend or something like that. You go out for dinner. 2 for $25 like a Chili's. That's not really a great meal for one. I would say if you're going out with a lady or something like that, you're gonna to be honest and you're gonna spend about $50. That's given. You're gonna spend about $50 or 60, or maybe even 70, depending on if a woman orders drinks or whatnot, like one drink. And to me, a drink should not cost $10. Like, let's be honest here. A drink should not cost $10. There's nothing special being done with the drink. You use grenadine, you use pineapple juice, you use, you just use syrup. You use strawberry syrup, using all this type of stuff. I don't think it should be that much. I'll put one more. I didn't even see that dude. This dude's hiding in a bush. It is what it is. That's idiotic. But yeah, I don't think that, in all honesty, we should be spending like, $60, $70 on a meal. It's just like for two people. Absolutely ridiculous. Then you think about tip. I don't have a problem with tip, but also too, I have a problem with the way business is being managed. I'll put it that way. People talking about staffing shortage. I agree, but honestly too, I believe in giving. To me, sometimes I think it's not even necessarily about the benefit of the doubt. It's like the benefit that you giving the person the benefit of giving. You giving them your business. The doubt becomes when, a server, the kitchen, they're not agreeing, and then management, they're flabbergasted or whatnot. They're trying to give people, I would say, no breaks at all. Like, what they brought out was bad. Like, burn up steak. I would say burn up steak, burn up, just so it's not right. Like, let's say baked potatoes or whatnot. It's not even correct. Sour cream. Stuff's on its way out. I'll put it that way. When you think about logically the amount of money it costs to produce that stuff, it's minimal. Baked potatoes, not steak. I would say that's pretty. It depends, because most of the places they're dealing with like actual people who actually deal with that. Now, the one steakhouse I honestly say is consistently good is Ruth Chris. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about Ruth Chris. That's my favorite steakhouse by far. There's not any other steakhouse and stuff like that I would say even comes close. The service is consistently good. You're going to have a decent time there. The food, the selection, you get like the 3-course thing. You get soup. You get like a salad. Maybe it's 4-course. The last time I went there is probably like a year, like maybe not necessarily a year, but like since like May. This May. You get a soup, you get or a salad, you get your entree, you get a dessert. And that's like what, $40 or $39.95 or something like that. $40. To me, that's not necessarily bad. You can get yourself like a Coke or something. It's probably like what, $5. I'm not mad at my money and stuff is going further. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have no problem spending money that way. If I'm gonna get, steak or something like that, I'm gonna crack $100. I'd rather crack $100 with Ruth Chris than to crack $100 with some ass food or ass, restaurant. Like, it's crazy how you can crack open $100 bill and the food ain't even that good. That's a crazy thing about it. Like, you can crack open $100 for some food that's not even that good. If we're talking about dating and certain stuff too, you got to realize in a sense that too, a girlfriend or somebody like that or people's friend groups, they can suggest certain type of places, and because the standards are so low in a sense, they're saying these places are good because they've not been exposed to better foods or whatnot. Like, do I think Chinese food is good? I like Chinese food to a degree, but for the longest time, for like 6 years, I did not eat Chinese food, and you know why that was? Is because too, there's a lot of Chinese food and Chinese food places that is just so bad or whatnot. These people could be serving expired meat or meat past the expired use date, and it's not tasting as fresh, or it tastes like some type of chemical or whatnot because it's been sitting in a box so long, and it's not good. And just the quality of the meat and stuff is going down. Like the noodles or whatnot, it's not, or the stuff could be rancid. But that's neither here or there. But like someone said that P.F. Chang's is the best Chinese food. I don't know about that. Last time I had P.F. Chang's was like probably about 2 weeks ago. It was not good at all. Was not good. Would not recommend. The last thing that I had was like the one thing I would probably want, I want some Korean barbecue. That's one thing I want to try, some Korean barbecue. I like Korean fried chicken. I haven't had that in like 7 years. But I make sure my health and stuff is okay before I go and eat that type of stuff. But I've been eating healthy. I've been eating healthy and drinking a lot of water. That's one thing I've been doing, to cut back on my soft drink, stuff like that. But at night, I could drink a few soft drinks, but at night, I'm telling y'all, I'm drinking that water. Let me leave. I'll probably play like 3 more games. I'm gonna talk to y'all. But yeah, I think in a traditional sense, if we're talking about, dating too, there's also food, getting food off the table, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, getting a few food spots, like, staples in a sense. Like, I like Indian food. I'm not necessarily one of those people who has a simple palate. It's an acquired taste. Indian food is made with a lot of spices, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's spicy. You can adjust for your palate in a sense. They're actually mild, very mild, or hot. To me, I like between mild and very mild. It's like, it just depends. I like spicy food to a certain degree. But I like my food sweet, spicy, and stuff. The meat inside of it has to be succulent. It has to be savory too. Yeah, that's something I like. Like someone says about like fried chicken. I like fried chicken, but fried chicken isn't necessarily that good in a sense. Like I went to a place the other night, and the place wasn't getting higher than a 5. 5, it means it had no potential, but a lot of the stuff was just bad. From start to finish, the whole stuff was bad. As soon as I sat down, I knew this food was going to be bad. And one of the reasons why it was going to be bad is because once I sat down with my parents, we went down to this place. It was like a family-style restaurant. We probably only had like 2 things of 2 rounds of certain stuff, and they did not bring out a lot of food. And from what we saw, it was pretty bad. Like the barbecue and stuff like that. The pork barbecue was bad. It wasn't even properly tended to in terms of like vinegar. The barbecue chicken was burned up. and they tried to drown it out with sauce. The fried chicken, they could have done better with it. It wasn't necessarily fried as hard as it should have, and it still had like you can still see the flour and stuff come together, and all of it was not cooked and done well. The doggone they ran out of collard greens. The green beans were bad. They didn't bring out bread. The doggone hush puppies and corn sticks. Um, the food was just not where it needed to be at. I'm going to be adamant about saying that the food was just not where it needed to be at. And you were to think about it, you know, you're paying, it wasn't that bad of a thing, because I think it came around being like, you know, probably about like $44. I mean, to be honest, that wasn't that bad, but the food in itself, the price for that day and for what we got was bad. I'm sorry, that food was bad beyond a reasonable doubt, because other times I went there, it's been on the point, but it depends on what type of thing, what type of night they having, and they just weren't operating on full cylinders. And there's this other place too. It's City Barbecue. City Barbecue is, I would say at best, you'll be lucky to even get like a good solid 5, because that's my baseline rating of certain stuff is 5. There are certain places I will not go to because I already know everything about it is going to be a 5. You know, the food, it's going to be a 5. Service, it loses a point automatically. And then you think about, you know, the presentation of the food and the whole thing, and then just like, you know, the manager coming out. If something isn't right, I'm not trying to get a free meal. That's the thing about it. Like, if I came here to patronize your business enough, I think that this was actually something worth paying for. You know, obviously, I think highly of a place, but honestly, some stuff isn't worth your business or time, the time of day at all. At all. Like, let's say, for instance, a place where they're not cleaning the grill or certain stuff like that. They're not, in a sense, the cooks, they're not using the thermometer, in a sense. You know, I will say, there's a place that I go to. They're not bad. They're okay. Because some days I give them like a 7, depending on what I get. But they can do a whole lot better. But 2, I think for the price and what they do, like takeout, it's just bad. And you actually have to sit in there, and it's just overcrowded. So probably what I mean by like the food is bad, like to me the people don't know how to cook salmon. And the thing about it is just like why they not know how to cook salmon. Either it's too they put like lemon pepper seasoning or whatnot in it. That's not something that goes on salmon, for one. I remember one time my dad got a piece of like a salmon thing, and they served it to him, and the salmon was obviously bad. It was not fresh or whatnot. It was going bad in a sense. The person that like my dad had a problem with the thing. If something is bad and past expired use date or whatnot, or however it was stored or wasn't stored properly, you can get someone sick. And you get someone sick, you know, you serve something, you can get sued. Like, I don't think a lot of people think about that. Like, you can get sued. And meat served out of, you know, temperature. Stuff like that comes with consequences, though. And sadly, people are thinking about the dollar sign, though. People are thinking about the dollar sign more so than they're thinking about, you know, And the bottom line, more they're thinking about the brand, the reputation, and the fact that you're not going to pee on somebody and tell people it's raining, or I'm not trying to pull a fast one. You know what I'm saying? The food, when people go out and spend money, especially on some food, they're doing it in a sense with their family or their wife or their kids say they had a decent meal or something like that for the week, or how many ever times to go out. Like, for me, thinking about all the, in a sense, money that people can save by dining at home or doing their own stuff, meal prep. I don't think that meal prep, or in a sense, or these food delivery stuff or subscription services are really good. And I'm gonna give you a few reasons why I don't believe a lot of these places are good. It's strictly because bread sandwich, I'm dead. So I'm probably like, what am I talking about in terms of like food? Like, you take a woman out or whatnot. I would say a good first date would probably be, I would say just get a feel of like, what, in a sense, a woman is interested in. Like, like if a woman is like express like interest in some Asian food or whatnot, if she likes pho or is open and interested in getting some pho, that would be a good experience, something like that. Like, two, like if a woman has necessarily like, a coffee spot, to me, a coffee spot is not necessarily a great idea because coffee is very bad. Like going to getting boba or something like that would be very good in a sense. I never had boba. Everybody can't, make that. It's not good to have on a regular, consistent basis, but it's something different that a lot of people have not had. But yeah, I definitely think that a lot of dates have like a lot of thought, creativity, and keep stuff fresh, I guess. Tell them probably like, should a first date be a Ruth Chris? I don't think so. I think that would probably be a good like fifth date or something like that, or something like that. It's been established. Um, but Ruth Chris is, it's not necessarily about the money at that point. I would say being in a relationship, like, not being in one is probably great. And it's not about saving the money, it's about, like, too, like, you don't get yourself together in a traditional sense. What's the point of dating? What's the point of doing this, that, and the third? What's the point? Like, if we also want to talk about, like, food in a sense, food is very, again, subjective. But with my food opinion, I think I'm very objective. I go off experiences, I go off what I see, I go off service, I go off presentation or whatnot. This, that, and the third. The sinking ship is going to be a sinking ship no matter what. Like, if a place used to be a good, 8 out of 10 on a good day, and all of a sudden it done going down, like, I'll give you a great place that's just not good, that I'll never go back to again under any normal circumstances. I'll never go to Cracker Barrel again. That's not necessarily a date spot anyway. Cracker Barrel is just terrible. The last time I went, me and my family, me and my dad, my mom, went to Cracker Barrel, and that junk was just bad. Like, bad. Like, we was in Cracker Barrel for like 2 hours. The service was bad, they had to bring stuff back. We're there to basically get a do-over for our meal, because before that, we had bad problems. And consistently, for the last, 2 years, they've been consistently bad. But this time around, they're completely bad. You can't blame the kitchen. I think they got management and an organizational issue. People say that people don't want to work. Well, why would people want to work in a place that's just bad? From A to Z. You're waiting 40 minutes for a table. You're waiting an hour for some food. You're not getting your, actual food in a timely manner, in a sense. You're cracking open, a $50, $60 bill, and then, $60 with, a tip. I don't know about that. I don't know how to feel about that. $60 for some trash, food. Cracker Barrel's fried chicken, I don't know about that one. Never been a fan of that. But honestly, Cracker Barrel messed up when they removed that, what is it called? They messed up when they removed the, whatchamacallit? The, chicken. The little chicken and rice. They messed up when they didn't remove that. So that was, their staple for me. That was a staple. Once you remove that, I mean, there's not that much, you're going to be able to do. Fuck. My bad. No. But yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of places are just not, date friendly. They're not necessarily good. In true confidence, I can't even say you can even take certain people, certain places, because it's just not good. I would never take a lady to no fried chicken place. Like a fried chicken or barbecue place. It just depends. It's not necessarily a good first date to me. I like variety. There's one thing I'm always going to stick to. I like variety, and the place is not doing stuff out the ordinary. We may, for instance, if I like a barbecue place has to do a whole lot more for me than to sell me some barbecue. A traditional barbecue place should have, a few offerings. They should act good. good selection of meats, good brisket, some other stuff. They should have just enough menu items, good baked beans, good sides. Like, if you mess with some fries, it's trash. Cornbread is very, I'm not necessarily a big fan of cornbread. But, like, if you mess up, for instance, some ribs or something like that, and you're calling yourself a barbecue place, I don't know about that, how to feel about that. Again, it's like a steakhouse. You're known for cooking steaks, but you're not using the meat thermometer. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, you can't just look. I don't care if someone's even been cooking. You can't look at a steak and tell me, based off the thing, when it's done, because that's just absolute madness. I would still use a meat thermometer or whatnot. But I digress. But I think there's a lot of stuff in dating or whatnot too. You just have to kind of get a vibe off of certain stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Definitely get a vibe. Or a feel of, like, what a person likes in terms of, like, food. To me, comfort food is okay every now and again. But, like, if anything is, like, loaded with calories, like, to me, I like salmon. That's my staple meal. Salmon, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. Or, for instance, let's say, not necessarily salmon, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. I could change it up. I like salmon, fries, and broccoli or whatnot. Like, someone said that TGI Fridays is a good date spot. I would disagree. TGI Fridays is okay. I just don't think a lot of places you can say it's quality. Wow. I could pull out the gun. I'll put one more up. But yeah. I watched this woman, well, I already said her name, Melly Monaco. She went on a few dates with these guys or whatnot. She does a thing where she basically speed dates people on a thing. People describe how they are, and they're compatible or whatnot, and they go from there. Like, for instance, like, and they get a date, like one free date on Melly Monaco or whatnot. They basically talk about it, their interests, their hobbies, what they like to do, what they do for work. I don't think that, necessarily what a man or woman does for work in a traditional sense matters to a certain extent. It's like if someone's talking about a doctor and a doctor and a janitor can't be married. Well, I would tend to disagree in a sense. It's just a matter of, in a sense, what other attributes someone can bring to the table. I don't look down on a janitor, because a janitor, what they do is actually very useful in a sense, because if you think about it, obviously, I would say a janitor has a lot of duties and, custodial stuff they have to do. And, being a janitor, you're pretty much, your whole thing is sanitation. Your whole gig is sanitation and reduction of infectious disease or whatnot. There's a lot of businesses, man, that are nasty, especially restaurants. You think about, like, if a restaurant doesn't have, towels, how are people washing their hands? How are people soap? That's disgusting. I don't want people cooking my food. They're not washing their hands. And then two, you gotta think about it. You can't have a phone and stuff at a food prep table or whatnot. You can't have that type of stuff. You have to wear chin guards or whatnot. There's a lot of stuff you gotta do. I think after this, I'm gonna watch Dame Drops. I'm gonna try to watch Dame Drops and go from there. I haven't seen his videos here lately, but I like what he brings to the table to talk about food. I'm not necessarily a foodie either. Like, food does not make me happy in a sense. Food is just something you just eat. You eat it to sustain life, basically. That's exactly what you need food for. But back to the Millie Monaco show. Like, she went on a date with this guy to In-N-Out. In-N-Out has the worst burgers ever, in my opinion. The food is not good. To me, In-N-Out is like the worst version of Cookout. Except that it tastes like... It's the worst version of Cookout, but it's also like a worse version of White Castle. Except it has a bigger portion size than White Castle. And then the fact that, you know, how can I put it this way? In-N-Out tastes, the burgers and stuff taste like it came directly out of it's just basically freezer burn meat. That's how I consider burgers. That's like what it tastes like to me. It tastes good. The animal fries and stuff, that's disgusting. I would never eat any cheese fries. Cheese fries are one of like my staples in a sense every now and again. I had some not that long ago, a few days ago in fact. And went to Outback. Those are pretty good, but still, I don't know. Give or take, I think Outback has a solid thing, but their branding, again, you can't go to Outback unless they have a deal. Same thing with Red Lobster. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Red Lobster. I do like their shrimp scampi though. Whenever they have that, you know, that's when I'm over there. The endless shrimp. But Red Lobster to me is not no date idea. It needs to be a little bit more original than that. There needs to be some type of theme. There needs to reset the bar. Like, someone told me that, like, I don't think that there's, like, I told someone that I don't think Olive Garden makes the most laughable Italian food ever. I'll tell people that, and I will stand 110% by that. They make the most laughable Italian food. And we've been completely honest, there's a lot of places that make a lot of laughable items. And their spin and take on it is bad. Like, for instance, Halal guys, their food is terrible. It's not for debate. Halal guys is, you know, a group of Muslim people who made a chain of stuff. The chicken is halal. It's just the way the way the animal is slaughtered. I got no problem with no Muslim people, nothing like that. I think the food, in that sense, it's a mockery to the people of New York that actually like cooking the food. Because it's a satirized version of it in a sense, because the white sauce is basically ranch dressing, like dressed up as a tzatziki sauce, and it's bad. And it does not particularly taste good. once we get those things out the way, like, you know, we'll start to see that, like, I don't know. Like, you know, there's no real chain Italian places. I know of a few. They're not around here. Someone probably never heard of them. Carmine's. Carmine's is by far my favorite Italian restaurant ever. By far. I had that junk in like, let's go on. It's a good 9 to 10 years I've had Carmine's. But it's really good. It is really good. It's all that. You got one in DC. Next time I'm in DC, I'll probably go and get some Carmine's. Granted, my health and stuff as well. I'm still trying to figure out what's happening. I don't feel 100%. I feel like I'm like, you know, I'm getting around to it. I feel like I'm a good 45 compared to where I was, like 33%. I didn't get some things under check. I'm going to get some blood work drawn and whatnot, and I'm going to get to whatever conclusion that me and the doctors come up with. I've been drinking water, cut back on my soda. I've been drinking water like the last week, or a good majority like the last week or so. I've been drinking nothing but straight water. And even at night, I was just drinking straight water. Like, I probably drink, right now, I probably drink a good 10 bottles of water throughout the day. But yeah, at this will probably conclude my stream. But like, yeah, I definitely feel like, for instance, I don't think that a man should be going to these hype restaurants, like especially. I don't think men should be going to these hype restaurants. Like Nurse said, there's no way that I want to spend $1,000 on a steak. I don't care if it's Sultan, that's his favorite restaurant. He goes and gets a personal thing where, you know, the salt dude goes and do all the stuff. I don't care about that. I'm not impressed by that. I'm not. Stuff like that don't impress me, because there's other places that I've been to, they'll probably give Nurse Set for, I would never go there. They give Nurse Set for its thing. That's like someone talking about, I pay $300 for my haircut. That's what rich people do, spend $300 on a haircut. I don't think that's something they do. I'll never spend $300 on a haircut, man. And honestly speaking, I think a lot of stuff is going back to like, just because you spend more money on something doesn't mean that like the service you get ain't even worth that. And I'm slowly starting to think that barbering like food or being a chef is coming to a point to where it's lost its value. In my opinion, that's how I think about it. Like, two, like food. Food is a, you know, thing that you need on your table every day. Granted, you should not spend a lot of money to get something healthy or to get a great balance of like food. But you think about it, the cost of everything, health is wealth, really, you think about it. And if we're thinking about like meals, like I said, $60 on a meal. You know, you have a girlfriend, $60. You take her out to her favorite spot or whatnot, not for sex or nothing like that. You know, you want to make her happy or something like that. She hasn't had it in a while. That's fine. I think if we're talking about dating and then spending $60, and you know, my sister was talking about like, you know, men going to certain places and then like, you know, spending money on a woman or this, that, and the third. Like you take a woman for 2 for 25 and expecting sex. That's hilarious. Stuff like that I would find hilarious because there's just no way. Chillers isn't even. Chillers isn't even all that to begin with. Or like, let's say for instance, the last thing I'm probably mentioned about sex and dating, it's like food. I don't think food can get people in the mood or something like that, or particularly speaking. I think it'd be a combination of a few things. I think a good week. Helping around I think helping her out around like the place, you know, carrying your fair share of duties or whatnot. Definitely taking a woman out or whatnot to her favorite spot. Got a lot of stuff that gotta go on. When a person had a good day or whatnot. There's like a variety of factors. Whether or not someone's going to, you know, have sex a particular day with their girlfriend or whatnot. But yeah, I think we live in a day and age where, like, yeah, you really have to start thinking about certain stuff. Like, I don't know. I think food can set an atmosphere for, like, you know, someone has sex. It's just not. I don't think that's how that works. It's a combination of a few things, like reciprocated feelings. Definitely, like I said, how great a week someone has, you know, chemistry, this, that, and the third. It's more about that. vibe. What type of connection to? Oh my god, this is BS. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Well,